welcome into the latest episode here of the Nebraska Prep Zone Report. We got even though we're kind of snowed in here for the last couple of days, we've had a lot of postponements, kind of a quiet week in basketball. We're here to talk about the latest rankings from Stu Pospisil and Mike Patterson. And guys, we're here on a Wednesday morning. We don't have any action again tonight, but we do have some fresh rankings. And as we were talking about before we hopped on here, a new number one. And in the girls' side of things, Mike, even after Britt Prince in her historic day on Saturday.
Go ahead, Mike. Explain it.
And Stu and I pretty much agree on this, but Class A Millard West slipped past Elkhorn North as our overall number one. They're both undefeated. They're both very close. In my mind, I just thought the Wildcats have played a little tougher schedule to this point, Class A, and winning the holiday tournament. So Millard West won, Elkhorn North a very close number two, but Millard West has a tough game Friday night at Omaha Central. So if the Wildcats stumble there, Elkhorn North makes it through this week. Don't be surprised if the Wolves jump back up to number one. But yeah, like I said, really close call. Millard West won, Elkhorn North two.
We were both there on Saturday, and it was a virtuoso performance by Britt Prince.
Yeah.
And McKenna Murphy gets 19 or 21 on her own too against a Skutt team that was undefeated. So I'm glad I'm me this week.
So Mike, just take me through it again. Skutt was the number two team last week, right? Last rankings. Did you have them two or did you have Northwest two last week?
In the overall top 10 last week, it was Elkhorn North one, Millard West two,
Skutt, and then Skutt was three. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was an impressive performance for sure.
Yeah. Stu made the comment, and I had to agree with him, that Britt Prince is just one of those players, boys or girls, that you would pay admission just to see her play. She's just been so impressive, so electrifying. 42 on Saturday. Her third quarter was unbelievable. I think she maybe missed just one shot, made, I think, 8 baskets in that period, and just flipped the game totally. Skutt was ahead by a couple points at halftime. And yeah, that third quarter just turned the game. And I'm not sure what more we can say about Britt. She's just a great player, generational really on the girls basketball front here in Nebraska. And, hopefully she goes on to a great career with the Huskers.
Of course, if our listeners missed it, she passed Jordan Hooper that day to become the all-time Class B leader in scoring. Mike, I mean, you've watched a lot of athletes over the years. Do you think you've seen a better scorer than Britt Prince?
Well, I remember seeing Jordan Hooper when she played down at State, Dillon, some years ago, but playing for Class B Alliance. And we hadn't really seen her play to that point when she was a freshman. And she was pretty tall, 6'2" or 6'3". And I just remember she had the ball and she was dribbling full speed down the court. And she went behind her back and went in and laid it in. And it was just like everybody kind of looked at each other like, whoa, did she just do that? So she was a great player, and Britt is awesome too. She became the 16th player to go past the 2,000 point mark. She's going to keep moving up that chart, and it's doubtful that she'll be able to overtake Darcy Strachey as the state's career number one scorer, but if she stays healthy and keeps scoring the way she is, there's no question that she's probably going to end up in the top 3 or 4.
No, I think she's number two. At this pace, I think she ends up number two.
His record is around 27.
27.52 is Strachey.
Okay.
Right. I think we figured out that Britt would need to average just about 40 points a game to catch her, which highly doubtful that's going to happen. So, but it wouldn't be surprising if she ends up second or third.
It's a great year that the shot clock came in for her.
Yes.
Because teams that would try to try to play keep away from her. Can't do it this year. You know, my take, and I've seen them all. You know, Mortice Ivy was the generational player of the 80s. 90s is kind of, you know, certainly Jordan Hooper in the 2000s, and now 20 years later, Britt just can do it all. I mean, the court presence, the court vision, the passing. She's not a selfish player. She's got the quick outside shot. You know, she can pop it from anywhere. You know, Mortice was very much a slasher to the basket, and you didn't have the 3-pointer back then. And you know, she was a good shooter, but I think Britt exceeds her in that regard. And you know, Jordan was such a dominant force around the basket, but Britt is an inside-outside player who leads her team in rebounds. She has that innate sense, Mike, don't you think, of knowing if there's a miss by anybody, where that ball is going to end up. And she's usually there.
Yeah. Yep. She does have that sixth sense where she seems to know where the ball is always going to land. I think we also should mention her defense too. Long
quick
arms,
hands,
and
quick feet.
Very disruptive. When Elkhorn North plays a team that hasn't really seen the Wolves play, I'm thinking I was at they played Trainer, Iowa last week, and that was a team that, a game that Elkhorn North needed to pick up because they had that open date. But you could tell that the Cardinals of Trainer had no idea what Britt was like defensively, because she had several steals, and I'm sure they knew what she could do offensively. But yeah, she's a force at both ends of the court.
Well, Trainer had a 6'5" girl that got neutralized to 2 points?
Right. Yeah, I thought that she might be a much bigger factor in that game, and turned out she wasn't. So Elkhorn North won that game handily, and then went on to handle the Skyhawks a couple days later, as Stu and I
dropped in the rankings.
Just ever so slightly. Like I said, week to week, we'll see. We'll see.
They're now on a 34-game win streak. And you know, you think about the history that those two teams have had the last couple of years. That was the team that handed them their last loss, right? Was that like January or early in the season, right? It was
second game.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
it was Skutt.
that's great.
First
Skutt
weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
But,
you know, like you talked to sorry, Mike. You talked to Coach, you know, Ann Prince after the game, and she kind of said Britt had that look in her eye in the third quarter when they really started to pull away, and it seems like they just really want this undefeated season bad.
Yeah, she definitely was in the zone, and you know, when her own mom / coach says that she had that look in her eye, she definitely was correct about that. But you know, we've talked quite a bit about Elkhorn North. I guess I should defend Millard West a little bit. The Gessert sisters, Neely and Nora, leading the way. A lot of Division I's want them, including Nebraska and Creighton, and Kylie Pabin, their sophomore forward, who's really come on this season, has been a factor for the Wildcats. So that's that played into it as far as Millard West slipping ahead of Elkhorn North too. So, like I said, we'll see what happens from here. But both teams outstanding.
Well, here's a game to watch.
Millard West hadn't won the Metro tourney in quite a while, so that came into play a little bit. I mean, Elkhorn North won the Eastern Midlands tournament, so props to the Wolves for that. But
here's a game to watch, guys, in 2 weeks. It's part of the Nebraska Prep Classic on January 20th. I think it's a 7:15 game. Millard North, Elkhorn North.
Yes.
Right. And, you know, Millard West won't be playing Elkhorn North this season, but Elkhorn North did play Bellevue West. Elkhorn North will be playing Millard North, so we can compare those scores to a point. I know that's not exactly the same as playing head-to-head, but at least there's a little bit of common ground there where we can say, yes, they beat them by this much, so then we can go on from there.
Yeah, that Millard North team is right now number 3 in your rankings, and they got destroyed by West the other night. I think that was the night that one of the Gessert twins dropped 30. And then that Paben, she had a double against Central, right? In the Metro.
Yeah,
You know,
she had 19 and 14 against
yeah.
Central. So she's
I'm
come
eager
on
to
to
see
play
those
really
two
well.
or three.
What's that?
I've not seen Millard West yet. I'm eager to see those three girls.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of defense, I know Neely is the scorer. Nora can be the scorer too, but Nora's defense on Inea Jones against Central at the holiday tournament was just had the clamps on her, and Central goes as Jones goes, and she was not a scoring factor that game, and that played into Millard West's victory. And I'm curious to see how the Eagles respond on Friday night. They're a different team at home. You know, you get that crowd into it there, and like I said, we'll see what happens Friday night.
Well, then Saturday night, you've got Kennedy Williams and Lincoln Southwest coming into play Central. So I'll be there for that one. You know, talk about a guard matchup. Kennedy Williams versus Inea Jones, two Power 5 or two Division I recruits.
Right. Yeah. Kennedy had 7 threes in a game in the HAC tournament, and then the next game she hit a long 3-pointer to win it. So another Nebraska recruit that people are expecting big things from in the future, and really fun to watch. And she's healthy this year, which is great. She missed a big part of last season last year. So yeah, I think you could be seeing a good one Saturday night, Stu.
Well, I think on the boys' side too, we'll get to that in a minute. Dillon, you want to tackle anything else on the girls' side?
No, just talking about the Silverhawks there. I think they made the big rise of the week to number 4. But like you said in your column, PAT, we might be hearing a lot from the other Lincoln schools before the season's all said and done.
Right.
Well, and Southwest got beat by Southeast on Saturday night.
Right, the next game. Yeah.
And
So
Southeast is a team that's kind of flown under the radar in Lincoln. You're thinking more of Southwest and Northeast and Pius and North Star, but yeah, Southeast got that win. So it's been quite a while since the Knights have been to state. I know that's one of our favorite bands in the entire state. So if Southeast can somehow get it done and get to state, I think that'll be a treat, not just for us, but for every fan there at the state tournament.
How about your other number 1s, Mike?
Let's just talk about them quickly. Millard West, 1 in Class A, Elkhorn North, 1 in B. Sydney moves up to number 1 in Class
Red Raiders.
C1.
yep.
They defeated Lincoln Christian. So, yeah, the Lady Raiders, number 1 in C1. Crofton remains number 1 in C2. The Pendragons stay number 1 in D1. And Layton, undefeated. This might be the first time they've ever been ranked number 1. They move up. Fall City Sacred Heart, our previous number 1, got defeated. So Layton, at least for now, 10-0. They are number 1 in Class D2.
All righty. Yeah, if we want to flip it over to the boys now, Stu, we can start by talking about the two at the top flip-flopping. We got Bill West back at number 1.
Yeah, no question there. Bellevue West won the Metro on last Wednesday, and then beat Council Bluffs Lincoln Stanley the next night. The one loss was to Millard North. Millard North lost to Central in the holiday tourney, avenged that loss last weekend. So just a flip-flop there. Bellevue West 1, Millard North 2, and then nobody else has just one loss. Westside and Central are 3-4. Gretna still, going through the process of remembering and mourning the loss of Coach Brad Feakin. Gretna got to the tourney semifinals. They got a big game Thursday night, weather permitting, at home against Millard North. First time they would have been home game since Coach Feakin's death. I'm sure that this will be an emotional night there. We'll talk a little bit more in a few minutes about the celebration of life for Brad on Monday. but
Yep.
Gretna is just having to go through the stages, and it's there's no game plan, no playbook that you can have a team to go through something like this. And then the second five, Papio South, 2 possessions away for being undefeated. They lost to Gretna in the Metro quarters on Lana Perkowski's last second emotional charge shot. And then they gave up a 19-point lead to Omaha North at North on Saturday and lost just before the buzzers. But Papio South is still formidable. Then you got Creighton Prep 7, Bryan 8, Omaha North 9, and because North had lost to Central early in the holiday tourney. And then Lincoln Southeast, the only non-Metro team in the Class A or top 10 rankings, is number 10. The Knights were the Heartland Conference champion, and it'll be interesting to see if there's going to be a Lincoln team being able to make its way into the state tourney field. Right now, you might get one.
Yeah. And the thing that I noticed, I guess, is, you take away those top 2 teams and look at 3 through 9 in the rankings, those teams feel very close. And it feels like those could flip flop over the next couple of weeks when they start playing each other more, obviously. And you get kind of a evening out of the totem pole, I guess. But, you kept Westside at 3. I think you had to been impressed with their win over Creighton Prep on their home floor at the Metro tournament there, Stu. What do you like?
That one was interesting because Westside was the home team. So
Yeah.
Traditionally at Prep, the visiting team shoots into the Prep student section.
Okay.
The backdrop. They didn't have to do that in this game.
Because they were the higher seed.
They were the higher seed, so
Yeah.
they were considered the home team. But Westside has had a perplexing loss or 2, and then they've had some good ones. So again, like you say, 3 through 9, and not that those teams couldn't knock off a Bellevue West or Millard North, because Central obviously did with Millard North, but the payback came. It's going to be jockeying. It's going to be the ones, obviously, that win the close games that are going to get the top 7 seeds for the district playoffs and home court throughout the districts.
Yeah, that's the important thing right there. And yeah, you look at Westside, they have some of that football talent carrying over to the basketball team. It seems like Caleb Benning is playing quite a bit for them, kind of an important role player. But then you also have that Stubblefield. He's a good scorer too. And so yeah, that'll be kind of a team to watch. See if they can stay up there.
Friday night it's Westside at Papio South. So
yeah,
along with Millard West at Central, and those are 2 good games.
Yep, that's the interesting one I wanted to talk about as well. But yeah, if we want to get into what was just an emotional weekend there this past weekend, remembering the life of Coach Feakin, and this Dragons team, they've already proven that they can go out. They're resilient enough to win a game the day after, such So the day of, such trauma for their team. But if you want to talk about your thoughts from that day, Stu.
Well, we've got we talked a lot about Brad last week, and Sunday Mike and I were both at the visitation, and the line already was in a queue. What do you think, Mike? Maybe 200 in the line at the peak?
Yeah. I mean, the first clue came when you pulled into the parking lot, and there were several people out there telling you where to park. And I got there right at the start of the visitation, which was at 3:00. And I'd say at least 150, 200 people. That line just snaked really forever inside the church there, which goes back to how much of an impact Brad had on so many people in his life.
Yeah, the community, the 7th graders that came through his classroom, and Sunday, I'm guessing probably 1,000 came through. I stayed probably an hour into it, and the line was still quite long. You had you had people like Bill Carlin, who coached with Brad's dad, Dale, who tragically was killed in an auto wreck about the same age as Brad. He came in. You had most of the Metro coaching fraternity, the Lukies and Simons, and just Joel Heiser and referees, and it was a great turnout that day. Then Monday's funeral. Well, I shouldn't say funeral. It's a celebration of life. Melancholy moments there. A lot of storytelling. Rylan, Brad's daughter, 13 years old, gave a speech that most adults could not have given, even with great circumstances. Just eulogized her father so well. And then you had Landa Prikorsky and Alex Wilcoxon each give recollections of their coach, and then Ryan Reese, who palled around with Brad and Bill Hurd in college at Doane, and Ryan was a longtime coach in the Gretna program as a volunteer. And then Bill Hurd was the anchor man of that lineup. 20 minutes of ups and downs, and they all encapsulated what Brad Feakin was as a coach, a father, a husband, a friend. And I hope my story in Tuesday's World-Herald did it justice. Just such an outpouring. And again, you had Joe Sadrovic, who coached Brad at Hastings High, came in. He wasn't going, just the loyalty and the friendships that get made in athletics, really come out. Mike Trader and his wife were there again. Mike was out at Hastings College at the time, and Brad touched a lot of people, and he would be embarrassed by the whole thing, but then again, he was probably laughing at some of the stories being told, or maybe grimacing.
Yeah. So
Stu, I watched the live stream of the
did you?
celebration of life, and the job that Brad's daughter did was just unbelievable up there, and some of the stories that she told were just really touching, and I'm sure Brad would have been so proud of her to be able to do that.
Big day. He'd say that almost every single day. You walk into his seventh grade reading class, it didn't matter what was going on. He knew how to energize young people.
yes, no doubt. So that's something that we'll continue to look at as the season goes along. Is just what's the sense that you get from that community, Stu? They're obviously going to back this. Yeah, right. And they're obviously going to back this basketball team. What an inspiration it would be if they were able to go, not only make the state tournament here, but make a little run. That would just be so, I don't know, it gives me chills just thinking about it. So,
athletics creates strange situations, and you never know, I'm sure Bill Hurd and the staff, it's just like in life. When does reality hit? And then you got to clear that stage that, okay, life goes on, you can hit a wall. And again, these kids have been so resilient, and, if they can keep the momentum going in that, the last thing Brad would want is for them to play for him. He would want them to play for themselves and their teammates. And I think that's what the community, I think, has been real good about that. And they've, the balance has been good.
Yeah. Putting their arms around them for sure.
Right.
And let them know they're there, and yeah, they're not expecting anything from them. It's like you said, they're going through the stages right now, and and there is no playbook. So I think you hit that on
Not
the
for
head.
grieving.
No. So with that, guys, I think we're going to run out of time again on our Zoom today, but
Hey, we've got, actually, I think we got 6 minutes left.
yeah, 6 minutes. I see
We
that.
cannot, we'll have something in tomorrow's paper, but a big salute to Danny Woodhead, College
Yes.
Football Hall of Fame. I believe he's the second one out of Chadron State. Mike, don't you think Don Beebe's in?
I am not sure about that.
Let
Let me
The
look that up real quick.
the great
I mean, he'd be
former
the only other
Chadron
one from
State.
Chadron.
Yeah. The
But
great
anyway,
former
Danny made it
Chadron
in
State.
along with Frank Solich, and we're going to apologize right now that we haven't had anything in the paper about Danny sooner. We'll rectify that today and tomorrow. But what a great honor! Yeah, Don. No, he's going to be the first.
Yeah, he is going to be the first. It is.
So,
They did rename the field after him there, so maybe someday, because that is Don Beebe Stadium out there.
I did
right.
not know that.
Well, I did not know that either, but probably should be Woodhead Field then.
Yeah,
And the Con Marshall press box.
there you go.
Their longtime sports information director is kind of
Okay.
he is to Chadron State what Don Bryant was to Nebraska all those years. But yeah, Danny, what a great career.
Oh wow, yeah.
It is a little ironic, isn't it, guys, that he goes in the same class with Frank Solich, who
I was going to say they're going in together.
that they didn't, that Solich didn't think he was big enough to play major college football.
Yeah.
Which was funny coming from Solich.
Exactly.
Yeah, Solich doesn't have a very big stature himself, but yeah. Oh wow.
But two from Nebraska in this class, I mean, that's going to be a special ceremony. I think it's in the summer, maybe, later this year. And also, we got a big thing going Friday night. It's the launch of the John Stella Bill Olson Foundation. There's going to be a event at the German American Society on South 120th from 4:30 to whenever. A lot of silent auction items. Maybe a few will be raffled off, but we're talking Hall of Fame jerseys with certificates of authenticity for signatures, autographs, Mickey Mantle ball, Leroy Neiman, Prince. Somebody has donated 4 Yankees tickets, home or away, any game. Chiefs tickets with hotel, Husker tickets with hotel, lots of golf packages, and it's all to benefit the scholarship program that that has been created for John Stella, who we just lost last month. Really the dynamic person behind keeping baseball alive in South Omaha. And then Bill Olson, who we'll be looking forward to Friday night and seeing a bunch of his old players at this event. Omaha Northwest was a absolute baseball power for 20 years under his tutelage, and we're hoping that son Greg can resolve a scheduling conflict and be there. With the snow on the way, that may even get more dicey, but I know he wants to be there if possible for his dad. And it's just going to be a special night. A lot of remembrances. Yours truly is emceeing. That's a privilege to do. Looking forward for a lot of fun, and hopefully a lot of donations and money raised from the memorabilia to fund more than, well, this year there's 6 $1,000 scholarships going out, and they want to make this an annual program.
Very cool thing. And yeah, I forgot you wrote about that last night, Stu. So any of our listeners can check out again all the details on omaha.com. That should be up there for you. And then Mike, real quick before we take off, you got a story coming today about Bridgeport. Is that right? Our old friends over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. I made it out to Bridgeport last season. That's a long drive from Omaha, but
yes, good.
Yes,
Been
Olivia
there, done
Loomis
that.
goal total. What's that?
Been there, done that several times.
Okay. Olivia Loomis goal total, still one of the top scorers in Nebraska. Her sister Ruthie has graduated, so she's carrying on for Bridgeport. She's having a great season, averaging 25. So yeah, that's what the story will be about, Dylan. And yeah, I think Bridgeport has hopes to get back to state again. They were the runner-up a couple years ago, finished third last year, and they'd love to finish off with a Class C1 title in Olivia's senior season. She's a Northern Colorado pledge.
Okay, yep, that's right. Yeah, I remember the story from last year. It was really good. So we look forward to that for sure. And thanks, guys, again for joining me today. We're going to wrap things up. To our listeners out there, stay warm, stay safe on the roads, and we'll be back next week to talk about some more rankings. Thanks for listening.